Hello and welcome to Out Nerdy. I'm Paul, and I hope you're okay on this Wednesday afternoon. So, I tuned in to the first episode of Moon Knight on Disney Plus. Now, this isn't a character I'm familiar with. I've not read the source material, and as such, I'm going off what the show gives me. The thing is, this is a Disney Plus show set in the MCU in 2022 or 2021 when it was filmed. And these shows haven't covered themselves in glory, have they? They've all been very female centric, which is fine if the title character is female, but it's often been at the expense of the male characters, especially as they always like to show the male character as weak or stupid, and they do love to emasculate them by having the kick in the bollocks shot, don't they? Another of the big things that they do or have been doing, and we can look at WandaVision for this, and Falcon and Winter Soldier, and Loki to an extent. A big thing they do is try to make the female characters sympathetic, even when they are the villains. So then, which is this show? Is it the overly female centric with the mamsel in distress and sympathetic female villain? Well, I'm glad you asked. Right. By 4 minutes 40, I was bored. The opening intro was very uninspiring. At one point, we had the overbearing white woman who badgers Stephen all the time. I mean, I'm not gonna describe what happened in the show because I don't think I can, but I will highlight bits. He then talks to a statue for a bit, and by 10 minutes in, I was wondering what the fuck is this show. I mean, half the time I was wondering if it's a Venom ripoff because I kept getting Venom vibes by the way they were doing it, but Venom does it better. We then have a scene in a Germanic country where he somehow loses 2 days. The show tells us he flits between characters, but he doesn't show us anything. It's just a flash, and people who were bothering him and threatening him are dead. Now, I'm 26 minutes in, and I'm still perplexed as to what's happening. 32 minutes in, and it's just a sequence of jump shots that are supposed to show the progression of time, but I was no less confused. Now, this is a 6-episode special event or whatever they've labelled it, and it's episode 1, and it doesn't tell you anything really. Stephen is as utterly confused as the audience is into what's happening. And when he does change, we don't see it except for a 10-second stint at the end. It's all tell but no show. So aside from the overbearing woman called Donna, who should have been called Karen, we don't have Superwoman riding to the rescue for the damsel in distress. Instead, we got obnoxious white woman who seemed to need to throw in as many British slang words as possible for some reasons. Now, Oscar Isaac's performance was good. His interpretation of an English accent was awful. But it had no region to it whatsoever. It was just the most mundane accent you can come up with. Now, that aside, he plays the unsure and timid Stephen very well. We didn't really get to see the other character that he plays. And that's about the only good thing I can say about this episode. Because, 1, I didn't know what was going on, and 2, whatever did go on didn't really fill any gaps or tell me any stories. If this is the future, as well as the previous MCU shows, if this is the future of the MCU, then it is going to be in deep trouble. Because going off this first episode and what we've had prior is awful. You know, I'm sure this might get better. And it just needs to, bed in a little bit. But I had no idea what was going on. I like to think, I'm pretty sharp at most things. But the show just doesn't give me anything to go on. Like I said, all that happens is he wakes up, thinks it's a dream, and it turns out it's not. Right, but no real explanation. And I can't, and I wonder, in this day and age, how is it they've got Ethan Hawke as the villain who seems to be either using or descendant from ancient Egypt. Isn't that against Disney rules? You know, with the policy of only having that specific person to play the specific character. Anyway, I can't. This show was rubbish. With the opening intro was just the opening intro was the guy set in ancient Egypt, I suppose, where he smashed some glass and put him in his sandals to walk on. That was it. That's what its hook was. It didn't give me anything that made me want to go, oh, this is awesome. As bad as Falcon and Winter Soldier was, the opening intro was fantastic. It's possibly the only good bit of the entire series, but it was fantastic. This, not so much. Anyway, that's it for me. This was awful. To quote Sam Wilson, you got to do better, Disney. Anyway, ta for now.